All right, guys, we're back, man. I guess we're gonna call this part 2. So I started tearing off the plastics. We're gonna have to go through and clean the bike, which will be at a later date. But today, seeing as it is after work, man, on a Thursday, I've already started getting some things loose. I kind of took my head bolts loose, so I want to pull this apart. I want to kind of rip it apart, see where we're at, what we got going on, man. Excuse me. What parts I need to order, so on and so forth. So I did get a carburetor rebuild kit in. I got a jet kit in for this bike and for the Hawk 250. We're gonna rejet that. I got a solenoid coming in for that tomorrow for the Hawk 250, and my feeler gauges are coming in so we can check the valve clearance and then put that back together, because I have a lot of bikes that's going on right now. And with that being stated, I have a little surprise for y'all a little later in the video, so stick around and I'll show you what else we've come up with. Now, I'm gonna set this camera down. I'm gonna get my ratchet, my impact, all my little goodies out, and we're gonna jump into this, man. So I want to at least try to get the head off today. I want to go through the power valve and clean it. We need to get the carburetor back off and out of the way. I need to pull this off, get this out of the way, maybe get this subframe up and out of the way. So yeah, let's get into tearing this thing apart and find out what all we need to get it in, get it going. Well, get it for sale. So like I stated a little bit ago, man, I've already kind of tore into this. This is off, the plug's loose, my head bracket is loose. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the head off, or should I say out of here. We want to see what it looks like. They're gonna be 12 millimeters on top, and you're gonna need a socket and a decent sized ratchet to get down in here. Or should I say extended? See, that there's too long. One, two, three, and 5. The other one's down in there. With that, these are loose, so they're 14s. Take that. This one's a 14. And the one that bolts to your actual head. And then these two are 12s. So what I'm gonna do is this right here. Right. Or you could actually do it down like that. Put that there. There. I have so many projects, it's easier just to put things back like this. And then we'll put this one back like so. And then let's see here. All right. There's our 5th bolt. Well, I'm gonna have to say that looks pretty clean in there. That's actually really nice. So that's a bonus. At least nothing was coming apart. Let's see if we can get this head gasket off here. Yep, it's a metal gasket. I did also get a top end kit in the mail the other day. So when we get the piston and everything, we can go right back with it. Now, I do believe I have to disconnect my power valve over here on this side. Looks like we got two 8mm here to pull this cover off. This thing looks like it probably comes right off. And then we got to disconnect this, and I believe the head will be ready to come off. These look like 12mm also. These right here are 8mm. Just pull them off like that, your power valve cover. So, and then there it is, voila. Power valve cover. The bolts actually stay in there, as grimy as it is. So, here's our power valve assembly. It looks, well, guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, that doesn't look right at all. So look at this. You see how that power valve assembly is sitting in there crooked? I can almost guarantee that's not right. That's binding everything up. All right, let's get this 10mm, see if we can't get this bolt off right here. Wow, that bad boy's on there. All right, we're gonna try a different approach. It's hurting my finger, man. All right, that's not working, guys. Let's just see if we can't get that head off. Let me grab this 12mm wrench. We might be able to just pull this bad boy right out of there and off of there, to be honest. So here we go. I'll give it one thing, these ain't very tight. Get these two on this side real quick. You can see the top of that piston, there is some composite or deposits or something, and then look at this. So them rings were bad, but now that I'm seeing everything, I'm starting to think that maybe there was something wrong with the power valve system also. So we're gonna get into that real quick, see what we got here, see if this thing will slide off of here. So that'll be that. Let's see about getting this thing off of here. Let me see. There we go. It's at least wiggling. And always hit gently. All right, let's see what we got here. So this is what I'm worried about here. I'm hoping it'll slide past that little thing. It's not looking good, to be honest with you. I don't know what we got hanging here. It's coming slowly. I believe this thing here is hanging us up, guys. I believe there's gonna be an issue. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to pull this little pin off, or this clip off right here. We're gonna try not to lose it. Just like so. All right, get us a little screwdriver here. And then try to put your finger on it and pull it off. Oh. Come on. And there it is right there, that little clip. And you don't want to lose that, you're gonna need it. With that, we're gonna pull off the washer. There's a washer. And then we're gonna get our tin and see if we can't slide this bad boy off of there. Right, just like this. So if you can do that, just slide that off like so, right? And then this right here should be free to come out. Look, this is gonna end up getting in our way. So what we're gonna do with that? So I guess first and foremost, when you remove this bracket, remove it all the way. Don't just leave it hanging there, it gets in the way. And now our head should come off. Maybe a little gentle persuasion here. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Try to save that gasket if we can. Let's look at this piston. Oh. All right, and we're out of there. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I'm gonna tell you right now that this power valve is not in there correctly, and we are gonna have to take that apart. Luckily, we have all the pieces. And the cylinder looks, I mean, beautiful, to be honest with you guys. That cylinder looks great. Let's see if I can't get y'all out here in the sunshine. Not too bad. We are gonna have to maybe take a real light something and clean the top up a hair. But I know these power valves are stuck now. So that was probably some of the issue. Get y'all sit back down here. We got stuff, it sounds like falling out everywhere, but it's not. All right, so. Man. There's the slightest bit of crank play. I mean, the slightest bit. Well, up and down, no. It's a little bit side to side, but not up and down. So let's look. Oh, handlebar. There's a handlebar. Let's look down in here real quick. It looks really nice. It looks really nice in there. And the bearings sound good. So we went ahead and ripped the piston off the top. So if you're gonna do this on the bike, put your rag around your crank like that, because you don't want one of them little clips or maybe a power valve clip or something to fall down in your crankcase, seeing as I'm not trying to, well, deal with my crankcase. I do have a little bit of play. mostly side to side. It's not really bottom play. I mean up and down play, and the bearings sound decent. So we're gonna run it with that. With that, we need to get this head inside and see what we can do. So if you can see, man, you see I put everything back where I got it from, man. I mean, we're gonna walk into the shop. I have parts everywhere. I got the Hawk 250 taken apart. I got parts. I've got parts. I've got parts. I've got parts. I've got tires. I've got parts, frames. And that's just like the half of it, man. So let me get this thing set up. We're gonna take this cover off, see what we need to get into to, I mean, I'm hoping it's not bent, but we do need to get it apart. So, man, let's jump right into it. So it's an 8mm here on the top. I actually want to use a ratchet to break them loose, just to make sure. I don't know if this has ever been apart. Luckily, they're not that tight. Perfect. I have a couple of gasket kits with this thing, so I'm sure I have a replacement gasket if this one goes bad. Oh, there it is. So look at that. I mean, that thing was coated 2-stroke oil. Let's see if they even work. Let's see if they work. Let's get a flat blade here. Now they're hung. So that's an issue. I'm sure it is. Let me get a rag here. Get all this excessive. I mean, that is, look at this. Let me turn that upside down. This is terrible. The gasket looks like it's seen a better day. We'll go ahead and replace that while we're here. So this is a Kipps system, power valve system. And we already know it is a 1993 KX125 J2. And that does mean some stuff. We're just going through the motions, guys. See if we can't get this gasket off of here. I'm trying to let that empty out so we can show you how much oil was in there. And then we're gonna try to get this. I always try to use a pick tool and then get up underneath it. I mean, that one's pretty much trash. So with that, you just do what you can. Try to get it off. If not, we'll get it off with a paint scraper later. But this definitely looks better. Probably the way it's supposed to look. Nice and clean. Now, look at this. Look at all that oil that ran out of there. And it's still in there. So let me get my Allen head here. Well, hold on. Let's do a couple things. One, let's take this trap door off of here. Bad boy don't want to come. Let's see. We always got that gentle persuasion here. Well, it's not being very gentle tonight. See if we can't get it to pop. I don't think this bad boy's ever been apart. All right, one more method here. That's gonna be the old pliers and twist. There it is. Perfect. It came right off. There's still a lot of oil in there. So we'll put this together here. The gasket's there, but we'll replace that also. So this here, we're gonna put the bolts back where they came from. This here, here. All right, it's key to take a picture of that or mark that down. The position of that valve. You can see that it's got that lining, it goes down and it faces out towards the exhaust. That is something you want to know. So we're going to take this trap door off here. Same scenario. If it don't want to come, get you a pair of pliers, be gentle. And voila. You work it right off of there. So that didn't have a gasket on it. Oh, as a matter of fact, it's got an O-ring on there. Here, let's wipe this off. It's got an O-ring on there. So, sweet. I'm sure I have that too. I have a couple gasket kits right here. And then, so now we're really getting into it. We can get to pretty much everything. So they are stuck, like stuck. Let me grab my Allen wrench. So we have an Allen wrench here, right here. That's gonna be looks like a 3mm. There's that. And then, so you want to pay attention to this right here and how it comes apart, right? Like so. It has no teeth on it. All right. Then your little holder comes out, and if you're anything like me, you're just gonna slide it back in there, put your screw back in there, and then you don't have to worry about losing anything. And then I'm not gonna tighten it up, I'm just gonna run it down enough that it stays. Wow, look at this. So, all right, man, different angle, maybe a better angle. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take this back off. Remember what I said about your pin or your clip? That clip will take off on you if you're not careful. So there's that. All of this comes off right here, just like that. So there is Another clip right there. And a Phillips that looks like it. Look at this Phillips, dude. This thing has been wore out. I'm hoping I can get that out without stripping it. All right, I have another method. Maybe. So, we're gonna pull out the old hammer tool. That tip is too big. It's gonna round it. My other tip broke. So, that's out of the question. Yeah, that tip's gonna be too big also. So, that's a bonus. That's not a bonus. Have to do something different with that. But I definitely need it to come out. Goodness gracious. Where is I don't have any more PB Blaster. So we're gonna throw some WD-40 on there. See if we have any luck with that. Well, that's not coming out of there. That's not fun. So we're gonna pull this shaft out right here, and we want to note the orientation of it. It should come out. Oh, don't get crazy on it. Everything in here is bound up, gentlemen. So let's do this. I have a different plan. So we're gonna slide this back through there, just like so. And then we're gonna get our 10, where we at? Right here, right? And we're gonna engage so it's engaging, but that thing won't come out of there, man. It's giving me a time, but we did get it moving. Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to get this out somehow. Something's got to give, y'all. All right, man. So the other night, man, you seen me getting into trying to take the power valve apart. Now, night fell on me. I had to go in, take a shower, get ready for work the next day, yada, yada, yada. And with that, I started thinking. So my power valve was stuck, like completely stuck. Right, so I got out here this morning, man, and I got my WD-40. You gotta love the double D-40. So I sprayed it down. That's why it's wet and in this pan. and I got it freed up, and I started looking inside the cylinder. So with looking in the cylinder, these are my power valves. Look at these things, right? Look at the crud and caked on 2-stroke oil on both of them. So I got into taking them apart, man. I wanted to give y'all a couple shots of this. I'm gonna clean everything up the best I can with what I have, and then we're gonna reinstall, and if it's free and moves free, we're not gonna yank it out, man. We're not even gonna mess with it. So I gotta get some stuff cleaned up. We'll click this thing back on, we'll kind of run through it, and then, I mean, we're just one step closer to getting this bike on the road, man. So what led me to believe that it was just my power valve assembly itself, the flaps, is that, so I gotta sit y'all down, man. Don't mind the humming. It's my little fan, dude. My son bought it for me for Father's Day. What an awesome little gift. So I'm gonna set you up real quick. We're gonna point you down. So what I noticed is that once I did pull them out, this moves freely. Now I don't want my valves to fall out here. I have coated this thing with WD-40. So seeing as that moves freely, that lets me know, because if you go back in a little bit in the video, you'll see that this piece was bent, right? It looked like it was sticking out. That seat was bent. So I kind of straightened that up with a socket, and it moves freely now. Excuse me. So we're not gonna disassemble that. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna set y'all in a better shot, and then we're gonna clean these valves with a brass bristled wire brush and some WD-40. We might spray a little bit of brake part cleaner on there, but at the end of the day, we're gonna mostly use WD-40 because it's a lubricant and a cleaner. So one thing you want to look out for is when you have these things apart, your pin will come out right here. Look, that pin will come out, and you don't want to lose that right there. So make sure that stays in there. And then, I mean, this stuff is bad, dude. I got it soaking with WD-40 right now. I mean, trying to get this stuff off is wild, dude. It is caked on there. This bike has been abused. Well guys, so this video is taking a few days to put together here. just to get that out there. But in the last few clips, we went through and we cleaned the power valve flaps, right? We cleaned these right here, the ones inside the cylinder. And we freed up the power valve, correct? Cleaned out everything, re-oiled the cylinder because it's been sitting out here for a couple of days, man. It's raining. Like one day it rains and then one day it doesn't. But anywho, so today, seeing as I have soaked down everything with WD-40, I need to try to get out the rest of my power valve here. I need to pull this out, and I need to get this slide out right here and clean that because it still hangs up just a little bit. Now the piston should be in, I want to say, the end of the week, so we can start building this thing back up, which will be a separate video. Now, another issue I am facing, let me grab some tools here. Let me pull this clip off. Where's my little screwdriver here? I'm gonna pull this little clip off here. What you want to be careful with, that thing will take a ride on you if you're not careful. That bad boy right there is important. Is I'm gonna pull off this other clip, which you're gonna be careful with it too. Both of these little clips here, they're important. And set them off to the side. So, what I believe I'm gonna have to do is first I gotta work these out, and then I think I'm gonna have to apply a little bit of heat right here to the corner of this and ease that out. Now we're gonna run through the process and we're gonna hope for the best because I don't need to break this off in there. That would be not so good. So with that, we're gonna flip this over. Now, I have messed with them, tried to get them out. And they're in there, man. So it might take a little heat to get them out too. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a rag over there because you don't want to scar this up, not at all. And we're gonna try gently to work them out of there. See, and they're stuck in there, man. I'm sure they're in there. We're gonna try this other side then. They definitely feel locked. I don't know if that power valve is supposed to be a certain way or... Them things are wedged in there. And I want to make sure not to scar anything up. Well. Yeah, they're not. Well, that one come up a little bit, guys. That's a bonus. Let's just keep working at it here. Sometimes a little patience is everything. Oh, we don't want to do that. We don't want to scar them up any. That definitely came up. Let's do the old W. We're going to replace the O-rings anyway. Maybe that'll kind of give me something here. I just want to make sure I'm not boogering anything up. Because that last little slip was kind of itchy. do not like that slipping of it like that, man. That is not cool. A little more double D. I bet a little bit of heat will make some light work of this. All right. So this is what we're gonna do, man. Got the old propane torch here. We're gonna heat it up a little bit. We don't want to get real crazy with it, it's aluminum. We're just gonna do a little bit of heat at a time, man. I don't want to press my luck with that. Hope to God my rag don't catch on fire here. No? We'll try this other side here. Alright, we're going to continue on. We're going to put direct heat on it, man. Oh, gotta watch out for that rag right there. So check it out, man. After a little bit of heat, right, and a little more WD-40, which I don't like doing it this way. I'm gonna be 100% with you, but it's all I got right now. So after that, dude, I just kept doing that, and look, there it is. So that come out. Now we just gotta, we're gonna set this right here. We got to get this one out right here. So that one goes on this side. We got that one out. And you got to make sure that slides over it, man. If there's any burrs, which that's the bad thing about doing it this way, then you have to make sure to smooth them down. Now this one here is being a pain, man. So I want to try something a little bit different. So if I pull this gear out, which I'm not gonna be able to until I get this out. Which actually, let's hit it with a little more, man. Right, not gonna hurt. We're already changing the O-rings on it. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to take this thing apart. We got to put new O-rings on this and on this. So, and then this here, I mean, it's ready to come out. I just got to get this shaft out right here, which these have to come out first. And if you are gonna do this, man, double wrap, triple wrap your towel, man. Right? So when you squeeze hard, because you're gonna have to squeeze hard. Oh, it doesn't slide, right? You don't want it to slide and mess up your shaft. See how it's still nice and clean? That's a big deal to me, man. So we have a dot. We got a dot right there. We have to maintain. And then this here. Oh, hold on. Hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's take this out here. Which that doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of carbon on there, but I was worried about this being bent from whenever I got it, and this was all crooked. So the good thing is that looks good. Hoo-wee. And then wow, man. This is reason number 2. Look at that. Why I wanted to take these apart and clean them. Inspect them. So with these here, with our timing marks, there's a shorter, it's a shorter tooth, right? It's not a dot, it's actually a shorter tooth. So that goes on that side. This one wasn't as bad. Same thing, this one's got 2 shorter teeth. So that'll be that. So we got everything cleaned up the best we can, dude. I'm not gonna mess with this right now. It's in there good. As long as it doesn't leak, which I hope it doesn't, then we're gonna leave it in there and that'll be good, man. It'll be hopefully exactly what we need it to be. So we're gonna leave that be. So I cleaned this up. I was looking at this cylinder before we get back into that power valve, and I've got one bad spot right there at the bottom. You see it right there? Right in here, man. Like right here. But I believe it's so far down it's not gonna affect what I got going on. But once I put it together, I plan on doing a compression check before I start it for the first time, and then after I do my break-in procedure. So I want to make sure to go through all that. Now, with the power valve, so if you go back a little earlier in the video, you'll see how bad these are. They're not perfect, but they're definitely cleaned up compared to what they were. And then here's the other flap, which this stuff was caked on there, man. Like everywhere. So I cleaned them up as best as I could. Both of them. I mean, there's still a little bit on there, but I mean, I spent almost 4 hours scraping that stuff off of there. Now I'm gonna go through and clean everything. All right, man, so we got everything cleaned up as best as we can. I sprayed everything off with brake part cleaner. So with that being said, man, as soon as you're done with that, you need to get some 2-stroke oil and coat everything. Do not leave it dry. Everything looks wet because I put 2-stroke oil on everything that I sprayed carb cleaner on. Right, that stuff is really harsh and dries out the metals. And so yeah, and I also lubed up my cylinder. Now I gotta run inside real quick, grab these O-rings. We're gonna replace these O-rings, and then we're gonna get to putting this back together. So we got the new O-rings on there, man. These are pretty stiff. I'm glad I swapped them out. So I did get a top end kit, an Athens top end kit to go with it, but I also got a couple of gasket kits when I bought the bike. So I went ahead and got them swapped out. That's a good thing. Got everything oiled up to make sure nothing like rust or anything sets in immediately. So I do not have any assembly lube. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 2-stroke oil down in there and get everything lubed up that way, because I did spray carb cleaner in there and I wanna make sure it's lubed up and good to go. So there's a couple things we gotta do first and foremost. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna put some 2-stroke oil in here. We're gonna put our flaps back in here, get them bolted down. And then we gotta kind of go through it, man. We gotta put this in there, which is up and down like so. And then the flat part faces down, right? Just like that. And then we're gonna put all this together, man. Get our gear back in here, which will be this here. Get it slid in there. Get it all bolted back up with our 2 power valve flaps right here. And then we'll flip it over and get everything else set. Jumping back in, let's get this thing back together. So I put some, actually let me get a little more. Never hurts, man. Turn on this killer fan right here. I'm telling you right now. That thing is legit. So, we're gonna get a little bit of 2-stroke. Put all over this bad boy. We want it slippery. Right? And we're just gonna set it in here for right now. Boom, just like that. The other one, I'm gonna lube it up real good. Slide this bad boy in there. So this would be step 1, right? Is to go ahead and reassemble this top end part. Go ahead and push them all the way in. So one way you can tell, all right, I've watched numerous videos, man, on power valves and things like that. Now I want to show y'all something real quick. Let me grab a flashlight and we're gonna take a little more in-depth look at this and how it would be real hard to get them in there backwards. So you see these flaps right here? You see them moving in there? Right now, I'm gonna pull this back out real quick. Here, look, you can see that when you see that one down in there. See how it pulls back? Now, so if you put this thing in there backwards, which these are easier to push out with your finger, right? I'm actually gonna try to install them backwards just to give y'all a demonstration. So if you put these things in backwards, which they will slide in there backwards, right? But look at that. So for one, they're not gonna go all the way in, right? That gap's gonna stop you, and that's for the fact that this cut right here should go with the shape of the piston. Right, let me take this apart. Let me show you. See that? So if you put that in that side, that would never work. When it went in, it would completely destroy your engine. So that's one way you could tell, man. Just, you know, say you take it apart, you throw it down, you're not thinking about it for a couple days or a week, or maybe you're at work and whatever, man. You know, whatever. But anywho, so for one, it won't go all the way in without being forced, and for two, the cut of this, so I'm gonna make one more demonstration. See how that goes right there? So that's how that is, man. Right? If you put them in backwards, that's what you got right there. So you know that's not gonna work. So I wanted to throw that in there real quick, man. I felt like that's important. Like I said, I've watched thousands of dirt bike rebuild videos and nobody's ever really kind of showed that point of view. So we got that put back together. So we're gonna go ahead, right? There's two things we gotta do real quick. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna push this. Oh, it slid in there, guys. It's already sitting in there. So with the exhaust facing you, just like this, right? This is where we're at. You're gonna take this pin, slot going up and down, flat part down or gears down, right? And you're gonna push that bad boy all the way in. Get your little screwdriver, anything, and push it all the way in, right? Now you can put your finger in there and straighten it back up if you have to. Oh, the camera's crazy, man. So you can straighten it up, but you just want to make sure it's all the way in there, right to the back. Now we're gonna reinsert. So we got to put some 2-stroke oil on this. We're gonna slide it through, put our keeper, our keyway, all that stuff in there, and then we'll flip it over and get ready to put the exhaust ports in there. I'm gonna try to get y'all a little different angle here. So there's that. Get a little bit of that 2-stroke oil. All right. So this here has no small teeth or dots or anything. So you're just gonna slide it through. Well, hold on, gentlemen. We got to get some 2-stroke oil down in here too. We can't leave anything out. I know one thing, we don't want the first start to get crazy like that. Put a little extra on here. So before we slide gear, since we've been moving this head around, we're gonna make sure that's pushed all the way in. Right, it's gotta be bottomed out. And then we're gonna make sure our gear is straight. Then we can push this in. Now this is how we're gonna do this. We're gonna pull power valve, right? So this keyway right here, the short side with the shoulder goes towards the gear piece. The long side goes towards, I guess it would be the right side of the bike. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide that through and then just line it up, just like that. And we almost left out a quick step of putting our bolts in. Whatever you do, do not forget to put your screws in. They're not bolts, they're screws. That'll hold your power valves into place, your slides. All right, now that we drop back and punt it, so we can pull this out some, and then we have our gear piece here, right? So it's gonna hook in there like this, and then you're gonna pull it, you're just gonna line it up like so. And then you're gonna line your gear up in here, right? And your Allen head screw, which it's a baby's pappy right there. And then torque everything to spec. Now that everything's torqued down the way it needs to be. So here's another thing that I want to note, right? So no matter which way you have your bike here, so you have your gear and then your valves. So let me enlighten you on this real quick. This one here, which is your longer one, is gonna go on the right side of the bike or the left side of the bike if you're sitting on it. And the one reason you can tell, the best way you can tell, is that this one here for a 93 KX125 J2 model has a gear on the bottom and a gear on the top. So the gear on the bottom is gonna line up with your shaft here. The gear on the top is gonna line up with your pin. So that's just a factor. I'm noticing this and I need to put that out there. So we're gonna drop this down in here. Actually, let's turn this around real quick. Right? So we know the one with the gear goes on the single side. And then we got a short tooth right here. We want that pointing forward because that's gonna line up with your timing marks on your shaft right here. Let me get a little more two-stroke oil. You know, oil all this stuff up real good again. And now, one thing to know with this is that the side that the shaft goes in, right here, right, that's where your short gear is gonna face. So you wanna set it down in there far enough for your shaft to slide through here, right? That's where this is gonna slide through before it hooks into your gear. And then slide your shaft through, like so. You see your little tooth in there. You got to get it right on the top of it, but there's a mark in there. I don't know how well you're gonna see that mark, but there's a timing mark. Back that camera up some. And it's right there. It's hard to see. There's one right here. Right, you see it right there? And then there's one, I mean, you can barely see it down in there. It's hard, right there, right there, right there, baby. You see how it's lined up with that short tooth? So that's what you want. You need it lined up with that. So at that point, you can get this to drop down in there, because it's got to drop down in there, right? And it's got to line up with this top gear up here. So it's kind of a, there it goes, there it goes. So once you get this first timing mark lined up right there, go ahead and drop this. So what I've noticed is that the two small teeth on this need to point forward towards that timing mark. And then this has a dot on it, but I don't really, I mean, it is what it is. I line it up. I line the dot up with the timing mark. So it's been an evening, dude, and I got to get ready for work tomorrow. So we're going to end this video on this note. I got two things to show you. One, power valve's completely intact, works normal and great. Now, two, I want to go over this piston real quick, and I want to show you two things I noticed and some of the reason that this bike didn't run so good. The first thing I want to note is the piston's not in bad shape, and I tracked down the part number. This is a Wiseco standard piston. So with that, the only bad spot really is right here where that bridge was at, which was honestly where these sticking power valves were rubbing inside. You can actually see the marks on the flaps. So I'm going to take this ring off real quick, and I want to show you two things. One, look at how thin that ring is, right? This part right here, look at how thin that is. All right, and then two, let me stick this thing down in here. Get this whole piston. We're gonna make sure it's straight. We're gonna do it right. Right? Now look at this. Look at the gap in that. So that lets me know right there that was a pretty big issue, man. So, dude, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta make this video. I gotta wrap everything up. It's still sitting over here. I'm hoping to get this video out in a couple of days, but I'm glad y'all stopped by, went through the cleanup process of some of the parts, and I mean, that's that. So I'm your boy, Ride Fast and Live Careless, and until the next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.